Welcome back to Viewer. I'm doing a giveaway trying to reach 5,000 subscribers. Going for that giveaway, we're going to be doing the Brilliant Stars ETB, I think. I don't know. Check the description below. I do have more details about it. I'm trying to get you something cooler, but we'll see. It's based on availability. Might be that ETB from Brilliant Stars. Also, 5 Pokemon mystery card lots that I'm putting together for you. So, fun stuff. I think it's cool. Be able to get you some cool cards, add to your collection that anybody might like, and give you a chance at it rather than just one prize, having 6 total. But we got to get to that 5,000 subscribers. We are trying to get to 10,000 by the end of 2025, if not sooner, hopefully sooner, but we'll see. I'm trying to be a little bit more realistic about how channel growth goes around here, and 5,000 is the next step. So be a part of it. Like, comment, and subscribe. Today is Wednesday. We are talking Works of Art Wednesday, and of course with the latest release here, the latest set, Prismatic Evolutions. We got to talk about the artwork, folks. I think that's part of this. We get so invested in these $1,600 cards that why are we so excited about them? Well, a big part of it is the artwork. It's not just the Pokemon. It's not just the rarity. It's not just the availability or the lack thereof. But a big part of it is the artwork and how much it stands out and how far the hobby has come over the years. So let's dive in. We have the entire set here on PokeCollector. Really cool site if you haven't been there before. You can create an account and start logging how many cards or what kind of cards you have from certain sets and just check them off on your little list there. For me, Prismatic is going to be pretty lean because I don't think I'm going to have much of anything out of this one. I am not ambitious about opening it at this stage just because it's been kind of more disappointing. The more I look at it, the more I see where things are at and the availability or lack thereof. It's been very, very annoying. But whatever, it doesn't matter. We could still review the artwork because it is pretty cool. There's some cool stuff here. But 32 special illustration rares. 32 special illustration rares. That's a lot. That's a lot. Some are obvious duds. Others are obviously awesome. And the prices are kind of all over the place when you start looking at it. I mean, Umbreon EX still sitting around that $1,550 mark. You know, you have Sylveon EX in the $580. That's a significant drop to be about a third. And then Leafeon after that on a sub 500. Thank goodness. My gosh, such a sick thing to say that we're all sub 500 at 439. Oh man, these are rough. These are rough. Even the lowest of the low on here, the lowest SIR for this set is $20. Can you believe that? It's $20, and then I think the next one after that is like $30. So pretty expensive set here, folks. Pretty expensive set. And interesting for sure. Pokemon, I don't know if they did a good job on this one or not. I think time will tell if this was a good set, if they did good on it. As far as the initial release, I do not believe Pokemon did a good job with the release of it, or having the right allocations for it, or the distributors pushing out to shops that order other things but not Pokemon and then spreading it a little thinner like that. I think that caused a lot more chaos than was needed. That distributors could have said, you know what, hang on, this is super popular. We're going to have to go to our big players first and let them have first crack at it for Pokemon-centric stores to have their usual or close to usual allocations so they can better serve their customers. And then it just gets a little bit easier instead of competing with bots or just crazy amounts of people, you know, buying and buying and buying and then reselling right away, just all on pre-sales, and then orders getting canceled left and right just because they can resell because the scalper price is already pushing up. Just a mess. What a mess. But that doesn't matter. Prismatic Evolutions and the chaos that's been ensued has nothing to do with the specific artwork that we can review from the safety of our computer screens here and take a look at it one at a time. I'm actually only going to pull out 3. I don't want to go crazy. There's 32 of them. We can look all day at every single one of them. It's going to take forever to really dissect them and see what's interesting, but I pulled out 3, and I think it's a good spread just to kind of isolate a few of the images, a few of the cards here, and give them a little bit of love. Maybe they get passed up a little bit more than some of those evolutions. So here's Raging Bolt EX out of Prismatic Evolutions. Again, Pokemon's latest set, and a tough one at that, but we do have a really cool artwork. I like the fact that we have such energy showing in this card. We have this leap forward almost coming out of the frame here on the right side, but looking back to the left to hold us back in, because as you, the viewer, look at something, if you're looking at artwork in any form, any style, our first instinct as people is to look for eyes. And Pokemon are these creatures, most of which have eyes that we can actually try to connect to. So we go to Raging Bolt's eye, which is getting to almost that center. We're not sitting on anything here, but we are technically on a third height of horizon. If you are familiar with any sort of formal compositional elements, the rule of thirds is a big one. So if you divide it out, kind of like that hashtag symbol, or like a tic-tac-toe a little bit there, you'd cut it through here, you'd cut it through here, and then you do the same vertically as well. So you can have sections here of 3, 3, 3 squares, 3 by 3, all right? And in that horizon line, that higher horizon line there, horizontal, that eye is cutting through, so that creates a more comfortable placement of the eye. We have the lunging forward here, the sweeping neck coming back, and then it's repeated with this big swirl of the mane, or whatever we want to call that, swirling around. This big S curve starts to take shape here, where you can look into this, and then we kind of come back down around. So it has a lot of different, soft curves in it for such a really aggressive and harsh kind of Pokemon. The big sway of this tree leaning way back into the scene, it's really hard to get the perspective right, because we kind of see some ground here, but the sky just bleeds out to nothingness, and it doesn't really connect in here like it's part of it, and this looks further back in the background. Hard to tell. I like the little hint of the swirls of these clouds, kind of that old, Greek mythology kind of artwork style there for depicting clouds and things. Mirrored here on Raging Bolt, of course. Lots of little things. Raging Bolt, giving into that Greek mythology a little bit more of kind of a Zeus, lightning aspect of it. So I don't know if it's, Zeus's white beard and then this white sticking up here kind of gives some connection. It's just these little deep pinpoint ideas that subconsciously or consciously, hard to even say at times, just kind of ping back to us, the viewer. And that's what artists usually are thinking through when they're depicting these things, of just these little bits that kind of bring us back. So the design of the Pokemon was to bring us into that feeling. Perhaps that was an aspect of it that was mirrored and portioned out to be part of this particular Pokemon in the design of Raging Bolt, but then mirroring it back with some elements in the background of this specific artwork. I would think that's the next step to kind of really pull us in and have this back and forth between our minds and the actual visual experience. And this might be too deep and too ridiculous, and maybe some people are not going this crazy into the artwork, but I just like to take a minute, and I enjoy the little bit of a dissection into these artworks to kind of show that there might be more than we thought going on, or maybe this has a little bit behind why the price is so high. This one in particular is sitting around 120 right now here. Dragapult EX. Now, if we like that tarot look, we like that crystallized look, I really enjoy the fact that everything of this card has that crystallized look, because we have such geometric shapes, very straight, harsh angles, direct triangles everywhere. All right, you can see in Dragapult, yes, we go to the eyes, we start looking at the Pokemon itself, very symmetrical, very centered, and we can fold that almost in half, but asymmetry comes into play with the tail here. And then throughout the entire design, it is just a color design, very flat, although the pattern and the layering does give a little bit of a dimension. The sprawling outward from the center, getting wider out to the edges, gives this sense of depth to it. Even though, again, it's very flat 2D imagery here, it's very interesting with that geometric shape, kind of giving us more depth, even though it's so shallow in how it works. And there's this feeling of symmetry across the board, and it really isn't once you start looking at it, but you can kind of see some light highlights, some dark colors, and now we have some aspects of symmetry in palette, but not so much in shape and how it goes. You see this little triangle down here, this little pink triangle here, that feels mirrored, but then you look at the spacing, it's clearly not mirrored, but then it's framed by the green or close to it. So it kind of keeps pulling you back and forth between this is a very symmetrical image, and then it's not even symmetrical at all. So it kind of keeps us in that little tossing and turning. Similar price point, actually, at about 120, 125-ish for the Dragapult EX. Lastly, I like to look at 3. So lastly, I'm going to look at that Leafeon EX. I think it's worth pulling out one evolution. Make sure we give it a little bit of credit, but people have been pouring over these for a week now, and prior to that, of course, looking at the different artworks, knowing it with Terrestrial Festival, seeing all of these being leaked for months prior to that. So we've gotten pretty well acquainted, but at that point, you kind of become numb. Most of the evolutions have some sort of design pattern behind them. They have some sort of symmetrical feeling. The Moonbryon even has mostly design happening, and then the big moon or eclipse or something, or sun, whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of different ways of how you could break that one down and what people think they're looking at. And I'm not even too sure. I haven't really looked at it too deeply, not like I'm looking at these, but Leafeon gives us a little bit more scenery. I really like that of this card in particular, because we have the nice long elegant branch to kind of cut through, a nice diagonal here. and we're going in this kind of circular framed motion around Leafeon here. We have that framing there. The tail is coming up, but blending into the background, but also becoming part of the scene, but also separated just in front of it. So not full frame around in front, it actually goes behind. So we kind of have a little half frame here. We have this little kind of capture on the other side holding us to center there. Of course, the nice centering of Leafeon, not just considering the card, but also the design of the words that we're going to be seeing here and how the card plays and all of that. So Leafeon still is separated from all of that. Still have a little bit of just a design aspect behind here, which is kind of nice. It ties into the other ones a little bit more effectively that way. This big crown kind of mirrored underneath here with these, I don't know, it looks like baby's breath or some sort of hydrangeas or something, I don't know, some sort of floral foreground here that gives us this little bit of spacing, this twinkle up in front here, kind of to mirror that crown there. So just little things, you know, little things that keep standing out. This little grouping here seems obvious of 3, and then yes, this is part of it. No, actually that feels more part of this group of 3 here. You know, we kind of have just a little bit of triangles showing up in certain places that start giving us a little bit more of 3s and 3s and 3s. Very pretty shape, and definitely a little bit more of an organic feeling to group in 3s. So we have the 3 there, we have these 3 here. It just starts repeating that process quite a bit throughout as you keep going through it. So it's not going to be a rule, it's not there all the time, but you start getting that repetition, just keeps it comfortable. It's actually to lighten the mood of the image, to kind of keep you in frame and a little bit held to it. It feels familiar because that's how nature works. So I don't know if you find this interesting. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I enjoy it. My background really reflects on some of these here, and I haven't done a Works of Art Wednesday in a minute, so I thought it was a good time to kind of jump back into that a little bit, especially with Prismatic Evolutions. Give some of these cards some love that, you know, while the price point is still up there, it kind of pales in comparison to some of these others here. I mean, that Leafeon alone is getting close to that $400 mark at this point in time. So, you know, do with it what you'd like. If you do like the Works of Art Wednesday, I'd really appreciate a like on this video, just showing your support for it, because it hasn't been a big performer in the past, and that's why I stepped away for a little bit. But I wanted to give it a chance here again on Prismatic Evolutions. So be a part of it, be a part of the channel, like, comment, and subscribe. And go ahead, earlier in the video, the very beginning actually, I break down what you could do for your chance to win one of these. Did I break it down? I don't know. I don't even think I said. You need to go to this video here. That's what I need for you to comment. That's where the 5,000 subscriber giveaway is going to be at. So description down below also has that there, and I lay it out. I try to make it as easy as possible, and I mention this in every video. So if you're new, this is good information for you. If you've been here before, you've probably already checked out like I have. Just kidding. I don't know. I can't check out because I post 7 days a week. So with that, I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.